Hello everyone, welcome to another lecture on C++ programming language. We are on lecture 13 and in this lecture we talk about conditional operator in C++ programming language. The conditional operator in C++ programming language is used to check a condition. Based on the condition, it evaluates, it decides which part of the program to execute. So in real world applications, we have many conditions. So if we want to, implement this condition or those logics in our program, so we need to use conditional operator. So we are on lecture 13, and we discuss about conditional operator. Conditional operator in C++ programming language used to check a condition. And based on a condition, execute part of a program. Like, for example, let's check first the syntax. The syntax for the conditional operator. So we have first a condition. So we have a condition here. And then we have question mark. It means the program checks the condition. First, the program checks the condition. So if the condition is true, so it, execute the expression 1. So there is an expression. We call it expression, 1. And we have another expression. We call it expression 2. Or, statement 2. So here we have, our condition. So first our compiler check if the condition is true, then it execute expression 1. If the condition is true, so it execute the expression 1. And if the condition is false, it execute the expression 2. For example, let's check it. For example, if we have, let me clean this. And if we have two numbers like integer a is equal to 10 and integer b is equal to 5. So if you want to check which number is bigger, we check the maximum value between these two numbers, like which number is big. So we can define integer result is equal. So we use conditional operator, which takes, 3 operand. It's called also ternary operator. Why it's called ternary operator? Because it needs 3 operands. 3 operands. So first, let's check. We check if A is larger than B. We have a condition here. If A is larger than B, so it should be A. And then we have also B. So this is our first operand, second operand, third operand. So it's called ternary operator. So here, we defined a variable called result, and the type of this variable is integer. It means it stores an integer value. So here we check the condition. If A is bigger than B or larger than B, A is 10 and B is 5. So 10 is larger than 5. Yes? So the result is true. So the value of A will be stored inside the variable result. So in this case, because the condition is true, so the value of our first expression, which is A, will be stored inside the result, which is 10. If we see out the result, the output will be 10. Yeah, because the condition is true. When the condition is true, so the value of a will be stored inside result. But if the condition is false, let's make it the condition false. If I instead of 5, if I store inside b 50, now what happens here? A is larger than b? Is 10 is larger 50? No. So the condition become false. And when the condition become false, so the value of b is stored inside result. And now if we print the result variable, so it will print out on the screen 50, not 10. Because a is not bigger than b, because a is 10. Is 10 is bigger than 50? No. So the condition become false. When the condition become false, so our expression 2 will be stored inside variable result. So when in our program, we need to check conditions. So we can use conditional operator to check the condition. So now it is time for practice, and let's go and have some, practical example of this conditional operator. So if you have any question or any suggestion, so please write down on the comment and I will answer them. Thank you. Yes, I'm back in my system. So let's open our IDE. So we are on lecture 13 and we discuss about conditional operator. So conditional operator in C++ is used to check, a condition. So based on the condition, it decides which part of the program should be executed. So let's, for example, if I define, if I want in our program to write the program which, to take two numbers from the user and print out the maximum one. Okay, so let's check. So I define here integer a, integer b, and I see out. So enter the first number and then cn, I store that number which is entered by a user inside a variable. So then I write cout, enter the second number, and then I cn b. It means when the user start store. So when the user enter the number 2, it will go inside variable b. So here I define integer result. So now what I can do here, I can use conditional operator. So I can use like if a is bigger than b. So if a is bigger than b, the value of a should be stored inside variable result, because we use the conditional operator here. It checks if the value of a is larger than b, so the condition become true. So the value of a will be stored inside the result variable. But if the condition become false, like, the value of a is not bigger than b, so the value of b will be stored inside result. And I can see out here. Yeah, so the result is a result, or I can say, so let's run the program. So I enter a number, like I enter 100, and then I enter 20. So it says the result is 100. Or I can say here the max value is, like the max value is, 100. So let's run again. I enter 120, and then I enter the second number as a 10. As you can see, it executes, it prints out the 120 because the condition become true. When the condition is become true, the value of a will be stored inside result, which is 120. That's the first number which goes inside the variable a. And then if the condition become false, the value of b will be stored inside result. So let's run our program. I enter, enter the number 1, like I enter 10 and enter the second number, I enter, 200. So let's check it. The max value is 200 because now the condition become false because 10 is not larger than 200. So when the condition become false, the value of B will be stored, inside the variable result. So let's give another practical example. Like if I want to check the username and the password, like now I, define two variables, like I string, like I can say username. So let me write username is equal to, suppose our username is admin. Okay, so I can define here admin. And then I define another variable. Okay, so string. Okay, sorry. String password. Password is equal to like admin 123. And now I define another, variable, two variable string uname, and then pwd. And I want to take my username and password from the keyboard. So I can say cout enter. So I can just say cout username. Okay. And then I can say cn username. And then cout password. And then I can say cn password. So what I do in this program, I, define two variables. One variable is username, which is my username, admin, and the password is admin123. And now I ask from user to enter the username and password. So I define two variables here, like I declared, uname and the password, pwd. So I cout username and I ask the user to enter the username. Once the user enter the username, it goes inside variable username. Sorry, it should go inside variable uname. It should not be username. Uname, and then we ask for the password, and it should go inside variable, pwd. And now here we can, use conditional operator. So I can see here, I check, the username which I got it from the keyboard. I compare with the username which I have in the system, and the password I got it from the keyboard. I compare with the password which I have in the system. If both conditions are true, so I can say the user welcome, and if it's false, I say the user, to the username or password is incorrect. So let's check it. So I say if the uname is equal to the username which we have in the system, and because it's true condition, I use the AND operator, and the password, the pwd, is equal to the password from the user. So now I can use here, because I can use conditional operator to check. So I can say cout. If the username and password is correct, I can say here cout welcome. Okay. Welcome. Welcome. And when I can say like the username. Okay, uname. Okay, and then I have here the condition. So I have, if the password, if the condition is not true, so I save cout. I can check here incorrect username or password. So now we defined, the conditional operator here. We use conditional operator. So we check if the username entered by the user is equal to the username which we have in the system, and the password which is entered by the user equal to the password which is in the system. So it choose, it execute this part. Yes, because it's, If the condition is true, so it's execute the first part, first expression, and it should see out a welcome uname. If the password is, if the condition is not true or false, like the username is not correct or the password is not matching, so it executes this part and says incorrect username or password. So let's run our program, okay? Yeah, it's asked for username. Let's first, enter admin, okay? And then I enter for the password admin 123, and I enter. It says welcome admin. Why? Because the username and the password we entered, it checks it the same username. So we entered admin is equal to admin, and password which is used, entered by the user is equal to the password which we have in the system. So the condition become true. So the first expression, which is cout welcome uname, which is welcome like the username, it will be executed. And if we enter now, if we run again the program, and suppose I enter here, the username is correct, and the password I enter 12345. Now it says incorrect username or password because we entered the wrong password. Once we entered the wrong password, so our condition become false. So this part of the statement will be executed. So this was an example of like how we can use conditional operator in C++ programming language. I hope you enjoyed from this lecture and see you on the next lecture.